Hello, everybody. The title of my project is Flowing Through Time, Exploring Hansen Dam's History Through Play. Growing up near Joshua Tree National Park, every day on my way to school, I would discover something new. It would be a new plant, a new animal. There would always be something new on my walk to school. And this joy of discovery is at the heart of my project. My overarching goal for the project is to reconnect children in suburban and urban environments with nearby wildlands through a series of educational play opportunities on a nature play route. And I was inspired by the Cedar River Watershed Education Center Teardrop Park in Shanghai Park. Hansen Dam is located in the northeast portion of the San Fernando Valley. It's bordered by Pacoima to the west, Lakeview Terrace to the north, and Shadow Hills to the south, and is also connected to the Big and Little Tehunga streams, which connect into the Angeles National Forest. Some of the site criteria that I looked at in order to choose my site was that it needed to be connected to a significant environmental area to bring those wildlife interactions into the site. It needed to be close to nearby elementary schools and medium-density residential areas in order to provide additional green space to school-age children. I wanted it to be able to connect to the Los Angeles River Watershed to provide an opportunity for watershed education and also an opportunity for habitat restoration on site. When I was looking at my various sites, they each sort of had a unique connection to water. They had the function of controlling it. So water became central to my project. It has a unique ability to traverse geographic and physical boundaries, naturally creating connections. So it sort of became the spine of my design. I chose Hansen Dam because it's very unique. It has a looped wildlife corridor through the two streams. They create an actual wildlife corridor, providing the existing users expressed a need for opportunities to experience wildlife. The 50-year flood alters the dam basin dramatically every 50 years, so there's an opportunity to create a sustainable design that also functions within the flood zone, as well as Pacoima has a very unique history with water. Some of the existing conditions that I looked at were the existing equestrian trails. As it currently is, there's too many trails, so one of my goals was to consolidate the trail system to still offer a variety of experience for the equestrian, as well as access to the various lakes. The flood level currently covers most of the site, and infill has made the historic Holiday Lake disappear. So another of my goals is to create additional usable space above the 10-year flood zone, as well, or by deepening the basin, as well as finding compatible amenities that work within the flood zone, and restore the Holiday Lake. The site has 3 key species that I looked at when I was researching. There's the spine flower, the Santa Ana sucker, and the least Roosevelt. Those are these 3 green circles here. So another of my goals was to include additional restoration areas. And there were also a lot of adjacent schools and recreation centers. Unfortunately, they are across busy streets. On the western edge, Osborne, and on the north, the 210 freeway sort of disconnect Hansen Dam from the adjacent communities. So I wanted to I'm proposing to create a safe route to this site from those areas. So Pacoima is actually a tongal word, and it means rushing water. Hansen Dam and Pacoima are tied together by their water history, which can be broken down into 5 different eras, each with a different relationship to water, which gives form to my site design. So these are the different eras represented by the colors on the site. The first is the modern, which is 1939 to present. The water sort of takes on the form of a geometric form. The next one is agricultural, which is 1892 to 1938. And the water is moving in a linear fashion, like the channels through the different groves in the fields. The next is the flood period, which is reoccurring, where water is amorphous and takes whichever shape the land gives it. The native period is 1891 to 1771, where water's flowing. It's altered but flowing. And finally, prehistory, where it's 1770 and prior, where water is flowing naturally. So similar to this, the discovery play path that I'm proposing takes you through the different eras, and it's breaking down as you move from the rigid channels of Pacoima over to the free-flowing streams of the Tahunga. So the site here in pink is the nature play route. The main entrance is located on the western edge near Pacoima. Right here is Sarah Coughlin Elementary School. So I'm imagining this would be the main entrance, and you'd move from the elementary school into the site. The linear orchard path takes you into the site and into the agricultural-based area right here, which includes the 1891 flood park. The play route then sort of begins to break down in form and flow freely as you move to the nature area, which includes the restored Holiday Lake, the restored Wildlife Lake, and the restored Middle Lake, as well as the littlest Tahunga Park. And finally, the path moves down to the native area, which includes the campground and the Quar Village. On the right-hand side, these diagrams are showing the proposed equestrian trail, which is consolidated, the redefined 10-year floodline and restoration areas, and then also the bike path that extends out into the different communities. So this is the 1891 flood park, which speaks to the story of flooding in Pacoima and the San Fernando. It has a two-level design showing or representing the high and low ground during flood events. And the elements are inspired by flood debris. So some of the key elements are the history houses, which are miniature-sized houses that have windows that you can look into and sort of see historic photos of that time period within it. And also you can climb over and under the larger and smaller ones, as well as the tilted roof course, which is sort of off-kilter roofs that you can climb over and under as well, just representing that flood debris. The next enlargement area is the littlest Tahunga Park that tells the story of the watershed. The central element is the play stream that flows down the center. Water can be pumped into a cloud-shaped bucket that can then be released down the stream. And along the stream, there's different areas where you can dam it and also cross and play within the stream. Another important element is the Discovery Sand Pit, where you can dig up historic artifacts and fossils and things of that sort. Finally, the Quar Village, which is in the native area, speaks to the local Tonga history and is based on the Tonga, or the farm is based on the Tonga creation story. At the center, there's a Tonga replica hut that houses historic artifacts and exhibits. Around the outside are native planting areas representing the different deities. And there's also a Tonga replica boat stream, which you can see here. So by combining play and history in a man-made but nature-connected setting, the project unearths the rich history of the dam and bridges the gap between modern Pacoima, functional Hansen Dam, and the wildlands along the Tahunga Stream and in the Angeles Forest, reconnecting Pacoima with nature as part of its continuing evolution.
I lost track a little bit, but the enlargements, I'm not sure which is which.
So the flood park is in the agriculture area right here. The Tahunga Park is in the nature area right here. And then the village is in this area right here, the native.
I've been helpful to label that. Really interesting, but I have two other questions. The first is you mentioned three, I guess I'll say inspirations, and they're decidedly different from each other. And I wondered what from each of them inspired you in the project.
So the Cedar River Watershed Education Center I thought was really interesting because they bring water to the forefront of the education center. They make it really apparent by having it drip. They have drums that it drips onto, and it sort of just makes you hear the water. And there's also sort of different areas where you can interact with the water. So that's why I picked that one. Teardrop Park I thought was interesting because it's in New York, it's in a big city, but it's really natural feeling and looking. Everything is sort of submerged into the nature feeling. The slides are sort of dug into the rocks and the trees. And then Shanghai Bhutan Park, I thought was interesting. It's a river restoration project, and there's a boardwalk that sort of brings you really close into contact with the water. And it's kind of a very well-loved space, sort of ties the people back to
So do you have another question?
Yeah, it'll come back to me.
Jen, I actually like how you took the three different areas and brought them in. They're intriguing and unique and very specific to the area. But it's a flood retention basin. So you've added water, and I know that Holiday Lake has infill through, it's really more of a sediment basin, exactly. So are you just moving sediment around to create this? So are you going to have the same model area then? I'm concerned if you addressed the reality of where you reside.
I read through the Hansen Dam master plan, and they said they have dredged and removed sediment in the past. So I would be proposing to remove some additional sediment to provide the additional capacity. So bringing it about 20 feet lower, so 10 feet for the lake, and then also 10 feet of capacity as well. Yeah, free for it, essentially.
Okay.
What's the distance from the school to the village?
So this is about 700 feet. So I would say it is about 2,400 feet.
Half a mile.
Yeah, not too far. It's essentially just, 2 blocks and then 2 blocks. So it's not very far to that one.
Okay.
Osborne, yeah. So the orchard block sort of goes across Osborne, just give a visual connection across the street and sort of make people aware that that is a crossing.
The brown stripes on Flood Park, where the trees are, is that
An agricultural
is that the
Yeah.
memory of the agriculture, or is that?
It's the form of the agriculture. If you see on here, it sort of has that row grove feeling.
Well, I see it there, it's very hard to.
It's not really clear
Yeah.
from here yet.
So basically, just sort of playing off the orchard path, and then it breaks down as it moves to the more natural area. The play path sort of goes from the linear to the curve.
Did North has changed from board to board, didn't you?
Yes.
Even more than ancient. Oh, it's a good thing. That's how I came. But when I look at these from afar, that plan, I really don't see the stripes, and I see them there, and that's kind of what I'm asking.
Okay.
Was it a graphic flourish, or was it a design intent?
definitely intend.
You said that you removed 20 feet of soil overall throughout all of these areas? Or just
Not
one?
throughout all of the areas, where the lakes are, and then this is actually raised a little bit just to be above it, so you have a viewpoint to the 3 lakes.
Do you have a section of that that shows, because that's pretty radical grade change.
I did a model, but I don't have it.
What, follow up on that. The freeboard, when it's, as I presume it would be right now, when you're playing freeboard, what's the relationship of, say, the lakefront wall? Is the water way far away and you don't have any sense of it?
I guess the question
Is the distance?
is this, with the freeboard filled?
No.
So then what we would like to know is, what is the shape of the lake when it's 10 feet more? It doesn't just go straight up.
When it's 10 feet more, it would be aligned more with this path. So this is about 100 feet between the existing lake and the orchard, the play path, the main walk right here. So this is what it would look like at the lower level.
So, back to my question, and in a way Patrick's, which we can summarize this basic section. When the lake is low and the walk is here, there's both a height and a distance, and you said 100 feet, which means the lake is out there in the middle ground, it's not an experience you're walking by a lake, it's kind of you're walking near a lake. And is it possible to have 2 walks?
There is actually 2 walks. The lower is a less formal walk, and it has. So the main walk is sort of where the multi-modal play path goes through, and then there's a grassed, less formal walk on the lower level.
Okay.
Have you have a follow-up question?
I'm just curious because these are all floodable amenities you're putting in here, right?
Yes.
Based on this is in a flood zone?
Anything that can't be flooded is above the 50-year flood zone.
Okay, very good.
Any other questions for Jeff? All right, thank you very much.